Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hello everybody, welcome to another fabulous high-definition Ask an Engineer. We're broadcasting live from the Adafruit super crowded headquarters down here in Manhattan. I'm Lady Ada, I'm the engineer. Behind me are all the boxes that comprise Adafruit, and over here on my right is AdaBot.
I'm a different type of box, that's right.
He's also a box full of goodness.
Yeah.
Bloody juicy goodness. Okay. We got all sorts of exciting stuff on tonight's show.
That's right.
Let's tell them what's on tonight's show.
On tonight's show, the code is Father's Day. 10% off all the tools in our tools section. This is a crazy sale. You should absolutely do it, including iCuff links, ties, and Leonardo's without headers, because Dad really wants that.
Here's a secret.
What?
Even if you don't have a dad, or you already got them for your dad, you can get it for yourself.
You might be a dad one day. That's
or you give it to your kids.
We'll talk about the show and tell, which was massive. It was an awesome show and tell. Can't wait to tell you about this.
Lego,
we will give you updates about the Legos. We will talk about some of the things from the Father's Day sale. We'll talk about an interesting article that was posted about the way we have our battery stuff on the back of our PCBs.
Yes.
We'll have a short video from Mitch Altman, who is doing a new Kickstarter. We have some new stuff from our educator, Adam Kemp, from Ask an Educator to a new skill badge requirement document. We have John Janier with a new pinout for one of our products. We have some previews of our coloring book. We got done. Someone is doing a cool KiCad training class, and you might get a badge if you can go to this class and learn how to do KiCad. We'll talk a little bit about some patent stuff that came up. And then in our new project section, we'll have a product without an LCD that a lot of people asked for, a quick video from Becky Stern, some back-in-stock items, something that sold out very fast from Dave Jones, the microcurrent from the EE blog. We have Arduino Leonardo without headers, some new RFID things, the Minty Yo-Yo, some new LEDs. We'll have a little bit of top secret stuff. We'll answer your questions. We'll have a trivia question. We'll have that and more, and a cat.
Meow.
All on Ask an Engineer.
It's a jam-packed show.
Big show.
Okay. So, let's start with the code.
Yeah, let's...
The code is Father's Day.
The code is Father's Day.
Nearly all of us have fathers.
Yeah, the code is Father's Day, all one word. Your dad influenced you quite a bit because to be an engineer, right?
Yeah, he was an aeronautical engineer. So, aeroastro, aeronautical. So he taught me a lot about engineering. He actually, he was at École Polytechnique, and he worked on one of the first computers. Yeah. He was using it to solve matrix multiplication. Yeah. Because matrix multiplication is very tedious, very boring. But you have to do it, especially when you're doing aeronautics or other kinds of aeroastro engineering. And so they'd set up these like gigantic linear algebra equations, and they would be like, well, we really don't want to do this by hand, so let's get a computer to do it. So he'd like, work with the program puncher. He'd write programs in Fortran, and they would punch them into cards, and then he would step back the next day, and they would be like, here's your result. That's cool. It was kind of cool.
And did he encourage you to tinker with computers and stuff like that?
Yeah, he loved computers, and so we got like a Mac 512K or whatever, and we were like, he was using it to do more Fortran. He still writes Fortran. He's really
still writes Fortran.
Yeah, Fortran 77. But but then I would use the computer to wreak havoc. Yeah. But it was really cool because it's like computers were very expensive. Like now, it's funny. It's a talk about the Raspberry Pi. Yeah. Computers are you can get a computer for $400 or less. But when I was in high school, I got a Pentium. My first computer was $2,000 with a monitor. A 14-inch crummy monitor was $700, $600. Very expensive. But he got one for me. He's like, okay, well, I think this is an investment. I think you're going to do cool stuff with computers and electronics and stuff. So he got this computer for me when I graduated. And you did more computer stuff, and then later on you got into soldering and doing electronics. Yeah, I was doing computer science. It's actually what I went to school to do. Yeah. And then in the middle, I was like, fuck this. I'm this is boring. Well, I got carpal tunnel. Oh yeah. I got bad. Yeah, I got it pretty bad because I would sit and write code for hours and hours. Still write a lot of code, but now it's it's firmware and it's interspersed with design and soldering and stuff, so I usually get up and do a couple different things, and I used to have terrible pain all the time with carpal tunnel. This was back when keyboards were worse too. They didn't have ergonomic keyboards. Yeah.
There's all sorts of solutions now. Some people say standing desk, some people say stuff, but it might just be that we need to step away from computers for
you have to just step away from the computer a little bit. But yeah, so he's still doing computer stuff, and he really likes. He also he did electronic. He built a crystal radio when he was a kid.
Oh, cool.
Like when he was a kid, it was like
that was all there was.
That was all there was, you know.
Yeah. All right, so that's the code. Father's Day, everyone. And one thing that I read, because everyone's trying to figure out like, well, how do we make more scientists and engineers and just generally curious people? So if you're young and you're thinking about having kids, how you expose these kids at an early age, like even if you're not, an engineer, if you're doing like cool Arduino projects and outfitting your house and you have a kid and they see all this stuff, this is the way that they get sparked. They see this stuff, and you never know what is going to be the thing that says, oh, I want to be an engineer. Right before the show, someone sent us an email. They used Circuit Playground in the schools, and they because we set it up so educators can buy like tons of them without it costing the same cost per app, and they deployed this in the school. And the comment was, there's a few kids that just kind of don't do good in school at all, but this, as soon as they got how electronics work and they understood it, now that's all they want to do. So all you have to do is expose people to things. And so they actually gave some good ideas for some future versions of Circuit Playground.
We have a new version coming out.
Yeah, we have some stuff.
It's not out yet, so we can't talk about it, but it's hardcore and it's awesome.
It's going to be cool.
So,
maybe
pick up the app.
Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit later.
Maybe? Really?
Maybe, I don't know.
Whoa!
All right, so let's keep moving.
Okay, we had the show and tell.
All right, we had the show and tell, and the show and tell was awesome. This is one of my favorite ones so far.
It was victorious.
Yeah, I'll tell you why this is one of my favorite ones.
Because you like brains.
Well, I like so we have a biohacking badge, and there's a medical industry and world, pharmaceuticals, medical equipment, and all the open source hardware and software people haven't got there yet. We're getting there. We're going to get there, and we're starting to see some overlap. And so there were some interesting projects. So Chris, and I'm just going to skip out of order though. So Chris showed his project. He had an embed with an OLED, and he did a really cool 3D rendering, and he got it up to 30 frames per second. So this little embed, neat OLED screen, and embed you can use code online and kind of save it to the local device. You don't have to worry about setting up a giant tool chain.
Yeah.
That's one of its features. And we held off stocking it for a little while because we wanted to make sure there's a way that people can export their code and use like the
AVR,
the ARM GCC. So you can do that now. So you can use open source software.
You can extract it and run the GCC compiler, so you don't have to depend on the Kiel compiler. That's basically what is.
It's pretty expensive.
The embedded compiler. Just for $5,000 or so, which most people aren't interested in buying.
So you can't. So our customers hold us to very high standards, and so we didn't want to stock the embed until that was in there. And one of the most vocal people in their community, they ended up hiring because he was like, "Hey, when is it going to be open source? When is it going to be this? When is it going to be that?" And so they made
fine.
They made the perfect.
It's now your job.
They're like, okay, guess what? You have a job, and now you have to do that. So it's great. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up,
Andy.
Yeah, Andy had a few things. He had the Evil Mad Scientist coffee table with cats walking on it, which was really cool.
Yeah, like 2 cats, and the cats loved it.
Yeah, the cats liked it.
That should be that should be like a web channel you can just tune into. Cats on LED reactive LED tables. I mean, can we do that?
Yeah. Yeah, we probably will. He used ThinkSpeak and a flow meter, and he attached it to a dog flow meter to an Arduino, and it would publish and it tweets how much water the dog is drinking.
Yeah, he had an automatic dog watering bowl that would turn off when it was full, and then there was a flow meter attached to it, very similar to the one we have in our stores. It's basically a flow meter, and it just ticks every time like I think it's like a 1/16 of a liter or something goes through. And then he just counts it and he posts it up to ThinkSpeak, which is like Cosmos is a this online. ThinkSpeak actually is open source. It's
Internet of Things site.
It's a sensor repository, sensor data repository. Okay, next up.
And that was really neat. Cool. I like these pet projects.
I like pet projects
that have
because pets don't do electronics.
Well,
but they love electronics.
Cats got on the internet with photos, but now they want their sensor data on. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Tim, he is from a hackerspace called Grindhouse, I believe, and they do wetware stuff. People with magnets in their hands, and what he has is one of those. You've heard about these things. It's one of the things that you can put on your head.
Yeah, he built his own.
And you put current through it.
So they just got electrodes, and they got some sort of like very low level current.
He uses an Arduino.
Yeah, and he uses an Arduino, and it basically does some sort of low-level current supply sinker. Yeah. And they experimented where they're going to put the Arduino electrodes, and then they put like a milliamp through your, what was it? The prefrontal.
Yeah,
cortex?
the dorsal cortex.
The dorsal prefrontal cortex.
By the way, this whole thing's recorded and it's on our site, so you'll see it.
And then what it does is apparently just like, I guess it just like makes your brain like hyper aware and like it goes crazy. I don't know. We should try this stuff out.
Yeah, and you know, it apparently it could solve a lot of things, and this doesn't seem dangerous. They were using 2 levels of magnitude lower than any amount that's ever caused any harm.
Yeah, it's under a milliamp, which actually seems quite high, but it's dermal. It's not going like, it's not like embedded into you.
Yeah.
So it has to go through the conductivity of your skin too. So it's not very much.
This is very like William Gibson hangout tonight. The other one that we had, Mitch Altman stopped by.
Best friend forever, Mitch.
One of the people who I really admire Mitch for his efforts traveling around the world and teaching people electronics. And when we
TV
introduced
him,
does the TV be gone open source? And I always say to people, one of the things I'm very happy that I was able to do in my life was introduce Mitch to you, because he wasn't doing open source hardware.
No, and then we teamed up, and I said, this would be such an awesome beginner electronics kit. And he's like, really? And I'm like, hell yeah. And so I said, hey, give me this data dump. And he said, okay. And I said, we're going to call this a TV Gone Pro. And it's an ultra power, because the TV Gone keychain, it only works like 20 feet. And we built a kit, and we like worked, and we revised it 3 times, and we made it like 100 to 200 feet. Yeah. So that's like...
And one of the things about TV Be Gone is it is a slightly polarizing thing, because people are like, well, why are you turning off TVs? And I'll just say...
It turns them on, too.
It turns them on, too. I'll just say one of the tricks, though. For teenagers or for young kids who want to get involved with electronics, there has to be a little bit of mischief. Think about how, like, Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, there's a little mischief about the blue box, and they also did something that turned off TVs themselves, but it jammed in a different way. And look what happened. Lots of things that you have to have a hook to get these kids in, and the fact they're turning off their parents' TVs is a little funny. And it's social because they want to show everybody. So it is, I understand that there are some issues. Like, you shouldn't be malicious, but at the same time, we should live in a society where you could probably have a little mischief, and you don't get your hands chopped off and like.
That's why I like this brain hacking stuff too. So now he's working on he did the brain machine kit, and we have a brain machine kit now. Yeah. And in the next step was to do the NeuroDreamer mask, which is the professional version of the brain machine.
So he has this cool mask. It's all fully documented, open source. He's putting more up there. There's a Kickstarter. We'll link to it later. Help him out. If you like the idea of products and medical products, because we're starting to see it, starting to happen.
Well, it's not quite medical.
It's not medical, but it's
personal.
It's on its way. It's
personal
on its way. Imagine every type of equipment that you strap to your body is open source.
That'd be cool.
If it was closed source, I'd be like, what is this thing doing to me? Can I at least look at the source code? That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, and then this came up as Stallman was saying how he didn't want to have medical equipment that wasn't open source. He'd design his own open source medical equipment.
Yeah. Next up, Craig B. That's kind of good. All these open source people that are getting older, they're gonna have to do medical equipment, so they're gonna be like, I don't like that heart monitor over there. I should just build a better one. Anyways, Craig, he's from a Hackerspace, Countdown KC. They're getting ready for Maker Faire. They have this thing. It's called the Neuron. It's this Learn to Solder kit, which is really neat. You have to see the video when we post it up in the show and tell. Which, by the way, when we do the show and tell, Google broadcasts it and they record it. They put it up on.
It should be up by now.
Yeah, they put it up and then we post it up. It actually works out pretty well. This saves us time. And so that was a really neat project where you put all the different things next to each other and they light up.
Like a network.
Yeah.
A mesh network. Okay, cool.
Anyways, that was an excellent show and tell. That was a lot of fun for me.
Intense. We'll watch it again and again and again.
Lady Ada, how do people get on the show and tell every week?
Super easy. Just go to my personal Google Plus page, the Lady Ada Google Plus page. It's linked off of the blog.
More Freed. You can't call it Lady Ada. It's
sorry.
Freed,
Sorry. It's Lamore Lady Ada Freed. I'm not allowed to use my handle on the website.
That's a nickname, but you can't use it just Lady Ada.
Everybody knows me as Lady Ada, though. Yeah. Anyways, so you go there, and then once in a while during the week I say, hey, post here, and I'll add you to the Google Circle. And then once you're added to the Circle, then anytime in the future you can drop by and show off your project. So if you ever want to show off a project in the future, add yourself now by requesting it, and I'll take care of it. And that way you won't have to try to post a message 10 minutes before show and tell when I don't look at the Google Plus page.
Okay. Next up, we have a favor for everyone. If you want to help us, we are trying to get 10,000 votes on the Lego Kuso site.
What are we up to now?
We're up to 1,704. So when the chat's over, if you can go, there's a link on our site. It's adafruit.com/Lego. Click there. They make you just fill out stuff. How would you really buy this? How much would you pay for it? They don't spam you. They say they don't. We're not asking for Kickstarter money or any type of thing. We just need votes.
Yeah, we don't have to promise.
We had a big spike, and now we got really busy last week, so we haven't had time to promote it. You're working on some fun electronics for maybe some Lego stuff that we'll talk about at a future show. But it would really help us out. We don't ask for a lot of things. That would help us out because if we get 10,000 votes, they will make a hackerspace with a Lady Ada character in it. So if you want to change the world for young kids, especially young girls, about what's possible as career options, there's Barbies and there's all these like reality show stars, you know, Kim Kardashians and Snookies, and then there could be a Lego set that these young kids get for pick and place and laser cutters and hackos and a little MOSFET. Think about all the cats out there that they can know they can be a cat in an engineering shop.
Okay.
Do it for the cats.
Cats love engineering shops.
Please do that.
Okay.
And tell everybody to do that. Okay, next up. So it's Father's Day. We have this sale thing. Father's Day is the code. All the tools in the tools section are on sale. So, and we never discount the tools because we don't have great margins on this. So we're just doing this for Father's Day. If you're a dad, just be honest. If you want to give it to your dad, if you promise you're going to have a kid and be a good dad, that's all fine. We also
or if you just act like a dad to someone.
You can act like a dad to someone. Yeah, and
everyone needs dads.
These are the cufflinks that we also have. We also have ties. Some of the most important people in my life were dad-like figures to me.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't have. I don't have the same good stories that you have. So that's why I'm not going to go through my stories. I just had really good people. In fact, I'll even say Dale, the founder of Make, was a very good fatherly figure for me.
Yes.
Anyways.
He's like everybody's dad.
Yeah, he's everybody. He runs Maker Faire. Let's move on to the news. So there's a trend of articles that it's okay, but it's also a little weird. So everyone wants to compare everyone's designs because one person will make a sensor, and then another company will make a sensor, and then eventually there's three of similar sensors, and so they'll say, okay, it's
like
now
there's a bazillion accelerometers out there.
It's Pepsi Challenge time, and someone did a really neat review about these battery pads. Can you talk about what this is?
This is Kevin actually designed the ultimate GPS board, and when he did, we were thinking about how we're going to put the battery on it because there's an optional battery that you can use to keep the real-time clock on there. And we wanted to make it so it was really easy to solder on, and so we have these nice surface mount 12mm coin holders. And I was thinking when I did this, I wanted to solve this problem which I'd had before, which is if you don't remove the mask from around the center dot where you have the contact for the coin battery, it might not make really good contact. You can put a little bit of solder on it, but sometimes people forget to do that, and so you don't have really good contact. And if you don't have really good contact, you can lose time, or it can jostle, or it gets reset. And so I said, hey Kevin, just like when you make this package, just like do a really good job. He's like, okay. And so K-Town went all K-Town on it, and he did this really smart thing. He removed the solder mask and copper from around it, and so it's lower, and so that gold dot in the center, because we get gold-plated PCBs, is a little bit higher, and so that acts as the contact for the negative tab on the battery. And so this is a really nice design. This person noticed it, and they said, this is a really nice design. And we're like, that's right. Kevin Townsend is a ninja.
Is this going to be in our parts library that we?
It's going to be in our Eagle library. We haven't had a moment to update. We actually want to move to Eagle 6 too, because we've been moving to Eagle 6. We have to go through and actually recommit our Eagle library. So hopefully we'll get to that soon.
Okay.
It's one of those, like, we're really busy with a lot of super secret projects that are really big, but we'd like to get to this soon.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's I'll try to find some of the links, but I'm running both things tonight. So if you folks can,
find a link on this.
Post the links, and then I had Mitch make a quick 1-minute video about his project because he's trying to get the word out. So I'll do that. So you and I get a 1-minute break right now. So let's watch this video for Mitch.
Okay, give me some tea.
Hi, I'm Mitch Altman, inventor of TV Be Gone remote controls for turning off TV in public places. I'm also co-founder of Noisebridge Hackerspace in San Francisco and creator of the Brain Machine, which is a kit on Adafruit. It has meditation brainwave frequencies, with cool graphics of course, to help you meditate and hallucinate cool colors and patterns as you go along. It's always kind of fun. That was simplified from this new project of mine, Nero Dreamer Sleep Mask, with even cooler graphics. It's very comfortable with memory foam inside. It's got 4 colors of light in front of each eye. and binaural beats through beautiful sound from speakers in each ear. It's a polyphonic 8-voice music synthesizer. It's open source. All the plans are online. I even have a Kickstarter to help manufacture this so that people can get the sleep they want and need. So hope you like it. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mitch
Oh,
Altman,
yeah. More Mitch.
inventor
All right, so
The cycle of Mitch.
yeah. So next up, Adam Kemper.
Oh yeah, go and support the Kickstarter.
Yeah, go and support
Kickstarter.
his Kickstarter. We'll have a post on it if someone wants to do that. Find
Okay,
it on
great.
Kickstarter, that's great. So Adam Kemp is he's a real life school teacher. He's taking our badges and doing requirements docs.
Yeah.
If you go to adafruit.com/academy, you can see the start of that.
We have like
There's
6, right?
There's like 8 or 9 now.
Wow. Okay, so this is the latest.
Yeah,
Welding.
this one's welding, and
Okay.
if you go through all these requirements and you want to award someone one of these badges, this is what you do.
Okay.
He also has 3 articles this week. I'm just going to go fast because we only
Okay.
have about a half an hour. So, Ask an Educator this week from Adam. What is the functional difference between stranded and solid wire core? Do you know in just like one sentence? You want to say what it is?
Solid core wire is more flexible, but so you can bend it and it won't break as easily. So you can handle that. But like example, you can't plug it into a solderless breadboard, and it's sometimes easier to crimp solid core and sometimes easier to crimp stranded core. So like Ethernet is solid and the crimper is for solid core.
Okay.
But like most other wires are stranded. So yeah, it kind of depends.
Okay.
Both are good.
Next up, Ask an Educator, making a non-inverting op-amp circuit on a breadboard. That's probably you have anything to say about that? You should probably just read this one.
I check the pinouts, but one thing to watch out for is just make sure that the op-amp works at the voltages you're running, because there's thousands of different op-amps.
Yeah.
Not all of them work at 5 volts. Some of them require 15 volts.
Yeah.
So that's something to watch out for.
And then, how can I convert an analog value to a digital one?
A comparator.
Okay. All right. So read all this. We do this every
My
week.
1 second answer.
Yeah. Another one, John Janier, who is in the house, he is putting together these nice pinout diagrams.
He went all John Janier on this.
Yeah, and why is this useful, just by the way?
Oh, this is our 32U4 breakout board, and we designed this board basically because we were doing projects with 32U4 that were not like teensy based, or now there's weren't Leonardo based, and so we wanted to have this breakout board that was more meant for people who just wanted to like hack on this chip with like AVR GCC and program it with a header. One of the problems is that we wanted to make it slim enough to fit into a breadboard and have space on the side, so we couldn't put like the long names of all the parts, all the pins. So this is a nice diagram that shows like not only what is the pin like E6 or P5 or C5, but also like you have special usage like I2C or SPI, or is an interrupt pin, or like there's a PWM output. So this is a very nice diagram.
Yeah, we added this on the product page too, so people can check it out. So thank you, John. I have an update for some stuff.
Yes.
The coloring book, I work on projects and I don't forget. There's project, Mitch had that one for 7 years he's been working on.
Okay.
Coloring book has taken about 2 years because it's a long process working with different artists and getting the coloring book pages. So we're basically up to O. We're one letter I had to skip, but L is for LED. This is our coloring book. It's Lady Ada's E is for electronic coloring book. You can go to adafruit.com/coloring book if you want to see these. I'll add these to the page. You'll be able to see all of them.
Yeah.
M is for MOSFET and multimeter, and there's MOSFET that you can color in on the letter M with a multimeter.
Oh, that's
Nice.
so cute.
Very cute cat. And then O is for ohms. It's always some angry guy. So that's O is for ohms.
Oh.
So we'll have this available to purchase. We'll have it available as a
You're
Creative
more than
Commons.
halfway through the...
I'm getting close.
Oh, boy.
And then we'll have this available as a free download for people to make and give to kids to do coloring too. And we'll also have a pack that you can buy. It'll be maybe limited edition from Adafruit with a nice glossy cover and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
I'm
excited for this.
Oh, one thing. Someone says, "What happened to Jerry Ellsworth, ABC's Electronics?" Jerry got a job.
Jerry got hired.
She's
got a job, and she's moving, and she's not doing video.
She got a job at Valve, and so I'm pretty sure it's an open-ended project. She can do them at any time, and
she's having more fun there.
She might be working on like Portal 5 or something. So, oh well. Maybe she'll get to them one day, but...
She did up to C, right?
She did up to C, and she did a fantastic job.
Maybe she only thought we had to do the ABC of electronics, not
Yeah, we
ABC,
just saw Jerry
DEFG.
at Maker Faire, and we'll, there's no timeline for this. I don't care if it happens like 50 years from now.
Yeah.
If we do a letter a decade, I'm okay with that. Next up, this is something I was really happy about. I'll get rid of us on the screen here for a second. So one of the things that someone had kind of tasked the community. They said it in a mean way, so when people say something mean, I try to do something good. They said, oh, everybody's just going to use Eagle or all these things. No one's actually like teaching people KiCad. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing? Well, nothing. I just want to complain about it. So I said, what we can do is we can get badges that say KiCad on it. We can encourage people to do classes, and I posted it on different places. I worked with the KiCad team. They get money when someone gets a badge, and we try to get these out to as many people as possible for the badges, and we post. I try to post on Make. When I'm posting on Make, I try to post here about these workshops that people are putting together, and you learn, and at the very end you have KiCad. Now, why it's good that you have a badge is you have this on your jacket or on a shirt, and someone says, hey, what is that? It's like, oh, it's this open source tool that does PC. It's like you can do PC design. So it helps. It works.
Yeah.
And because when you're done with KiCad, maybe you'll make a circuit board, but maybe you'll wear your jacket in more places.
Yeah.
So anyways, this happened. It's real. I think someone in the chat actually went to one of those.
That's cool.
And as the tools get more mature, we
have an Eagle badge. We have
an
a
Eagle
Gita
badge,
badge.
a Gita badge.
We have all of your open source
and
freeware PCB layout tools covered.
And we worked with Eagle with Wendell's help from Evil Mad Scientist to get Eagle to do an open export format. So very soon it'll be possible to import and export all the files that all these different tools use, and overnight, where every single thing isn't going to be open source. But if we all said, well, we're not going to do open source hardware till everything's open source, we'd still be waiting. But every year and every month we actually get closer, so it's cool. Anyways, we're trying.
Yeah.
Next up, I won't spend too much time on this because I don't want to run out of time. There's a defensible patent license. We linked to it on our site. People are finally starting to think the same way I think that people thought about copyright. So copyright was kind of used against kind of bad people for open source software.
You can't have open source software without strong copyright.
Right. And so because code is copyrighted, you can have a cool license that encourages sharing. The GPL worked out that way. Open source works out that way. And because it's your code, it's your copyrighted stuff, you can use it that way. Just follow the license. Oh, you're not going to follow the license. You're going to be bad things. Well, copyrights there's some pretty hefty fines. Go to court and all this stuff. So people are starting to think about patents that way. Like maybe all the technology companies who don't want to play this patent war, they'll all get together and say, hey, let's all share our patents together. Mm-hmm. And we'll use it only defensively if any of those bad companies mess with one of us.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a patent, and we are going to do something with it, with the open source community. We're going to try to document it. We can't talk about it yet until we have this thing. But in typical Adafruit fashion, we're going to try to fix this too. Mm-hmm. I think it's hypocritical for us to complain about something unless we actually go through the process of getting a patent and doing something with it. And who knows? We do crazy stuff like Hack Connect. We might need to be in a patent pool so someone doesn't go after us.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So,
I think it's interesting. I think it's people. A lot of people complain about the patent system, but it's really interesting to see what people are coming up with to try to solve this.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Next
so
up.
let's just the code is Father's Day. Remember, 10% all the stuff. And right now it's time to dive into new products.
Okay. All new.
I gotta get the new product theme song. We always talk about it.
Oh yeah, we have to. Maybe new.
Yeah.
New.
We have a lot of musicians in Adafruit. We'll get them to do that.
We have like a tuba player.
So first up, this is kind of fun and exciting news.
This is for Father's Day?
Yeah, so Ken from Geek Dad talked to us.
Yeah.
We talked to him, and we got permission to make Geek Dad badges. These are the new little robots on the site, so in honor of Father's Day. And by the way, these are also 10% off. I just added right before the show.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to put on the overhead?
Yeah, sure.
These are beautiful. Darren, who is...
That's me with me.
Yeah, I did the wrong one.
That's the underhead.
Yeah, sorry about that. I happen sometimes.
There's a G. So this is the Geek Dad logo, and for Father's Day they wanted to have badges available.
Yeah.
And is there a Geek Mom logo too? They're working on it still, right?
I think so. Yeah, there's a whole big Geek Mom, Geek Dad community all on Wired. They have the Wired design site. But this is the first one that we have, and this is a little robot with a G on it. And the way that Darren, who is our kind of designer of badges, it's iron, and flip it on the other side. He made the thread directions look in a really brilliant way.
Yeah,
so it looks like it's 3D. It looks like it's a real robot. It turned out great. And his facility, which is in New Jersey, USA, is solar powered. and they use environmentally
Not
friendly.
New Jersey, Canada.
Yeah, environmentally friendly inks and threads, and they're very earth friendly, and you can get super cheap embroidery around the world. We get it at a fair price at great quality, and these will last a lifetime, and it's important to us.
Yeah, they're super sweet.
So we really like it.
These
okay.
are nice.
Next up.
All the badges are beautiful.
Yeah. Next up, this was a special request from a lot of people. This was you want to just talk about this?
Yeah,
This
sure.
is all you stuff. I'm just going to go over
Yeah,
now.
you just go over there.
I'm going over now.
Go over there. So this is the kit for the I2C character LCD shield with a keypad. So we made this really nice Arduino shield because people were asking us for a simple way to add a character LCD and a keypad without using like all the pins. So what's really nice is it controls the LCD and 5 buttons using only the I2C pins, and it works with, I think it should even work with the Leonardo. It works with the Arduino and with the Mega R3s, and you just plug it in, and they can even drive RGB LCDs, so we have these really nice full-color background LCDs. Then we were selling them with the LCD as a pack, because we thought like it would be really only useful if you have the LCD, and also we don't guarantee it works with any LCD out there. Only the ones we've tested, we know for sure they work. And so, but some people said, well, I had bought one of your LCDs already, and I want to adapt, I want to use this and make it into a shield. We're like, oh, okay, so now we have the version of the shield that doesn't come with an LCD. We're still just getting it as a pack because it's like less expensive, and also you're guaranteed to know that it's going to work. But, we also have the kit pack available for people who want to DIY.
Yeah, and this is kind of, I'll put the biz hat on for a second. We like to do this for products. When we release something like this first, it has the LCD that we have. Maybe we worked with the factory to make it in a specific way, and it works with everything. Everything is fully tested because we have a lot of beginners. We want to make sure that they have the best possible experience.
There's RGB LCDs out there that this will not work with.
Yeah.
So, it only works with the ones because we picked that they were going to be common anode, but if you get an LCD out there that's common cathode, it just won't work, and you'll be like, well, why isn't it working? Is the shield broken? And you can't remove the LCD once you've attached it. There's 18 connections.
Yeah.
So this is for a little bit more advanced people who are willing to look up the data sheets and make sure that the LCD they have works.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, these went back, and we had these, and then
We're
they went out of
shipping
stock. Yeah, these are these really cool Mesograph pens. They're calipers that are pens. And they're really, really neat. And Becky made a video. Becky's on special assignment this week, so that's why she's not here. But we do have a Becky video, because I know people like Becky videos. So let's watch it for a minute, shall we?
Shall.
This is the Mesograph. It's a combination pen and caliper rule, available at Adafruit. It's made of chromium-plated brass, and its ruler has inches and millimeters. Use it to measure the cat, or the dog, or something actually useful like your electronics projects, and then write down those measurements right away. It even has a tire tread gauge you can use to measure how worn your tires are. It's also at home in the machine shop with its thread scale. We think it's the perfect workshop companion and hope you'll agree.
Okay, and
nice
speaking of Becky, we got the Ohm Sweet Ohm cross-stitch kits back in stock. They instantly sold out, and you want to grab that pillow?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I
watch
love
out.
pillow.
Careful.
Yeah, I'm careful.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on tonight.
So
So this is the pillow. Let me make sure I do this right before I go over. Okay, this is the pillow, and this is what you can make with it. Ohm Sweet Ohm.
Yeah, she made
Great
me this
cross-stitch
pillow.
kit.
I sleep with it at night, and
Yeah.
I hope that the information will get into my brain. Maybe I have to get the NeuroDreamer mask.
Yeah. So that's back in stock now. And a couple photos. This is the stuff that comes in the kit.
We got these kits back in stock pretty fast. They're super popular, and they're totally beautiful. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to cross stitch, or if you just, you want to chill out and just do something for 40 hours, this is a really good project to do.
And that's Becky's dog.
And it's a good beginner cross stitch kit because it's very rectangular.
Yeah.
Like some kits are like, here's a unicorn in front of a willow tree with a fountain, so there's a lot of dithering.
Yeah.
But this one is nice solid colors all the way through.
Okay, and then next up, this is another one that became very popular very fast. This is Dave Jones Microcurrent. You need to explain what this does because you know better than anybody else.
Let's go to the overhead and we'll do a little lesson. I want to use the overhead.
By the way, that's what's on the inside.
I want to use the overhead a little bit more.
Yeah,
because it's
more?
important. Yeah.
Okay. It's overhead time.
So, when you have to measure current, there's only really one way to measure current. Well, you can use it with the inductive loop, but pretty much the way you measure current is you have a resistor, and then you measure the voltage. And then if you know the resistor, because it's like a 1% resistor, you can, hey Phil, can you get rid of the top thing, because it's not as...
You want to get rid of this?
Yeah, because it's in the way. You measure the voltage, and if you know that it's like a 1% resistor, then you know your V equals IR, and then I equals V divided by R, and then you know R, and you know the voltage, because you've measured it, then you can tell how much current is going through here. So this is awesome. So let's do an example. Let's say we have R equals 1 ohm, because it's a nice even number. And then we have the current is 1 amp. That means the voltage is going to be 1 volt. And then let's say we have the same resistor, but now we have 10 amps. Okay, well, wait a minute. Now we have 10 volts. Well, that's a lot. First off, because that's a lot of dissipation going through the resistor, but also because that's the burden voltage. That's the voltage that's going to be dropped across this resistor. So if you want to measure really high currents, you don't want to use a 1 ohm resistor. You want to use like a 0.01 ohm resistor, because then you'll get back to something more reasonable, like 0.1 volt, which is actually not a lot of burden voltage. Like if you have a 12 volt power supply and you're measuring 10 amps that's being pulled through it because you have this massive LED project, well, 1 volt drop isn't so bad. And so you'll usually see 0.1 ohm resistor, 0.01 or 0.1 ohm resistors for current sensors. So with this in mind, let's say you want to measure a really small amount of current. You want to have a really big resistor, right? You want to have let's say the current is 1 milliamp. If you have a 1 ohm resistor and 1 milliamp of current, then you'll only get 1 millivolt drop, which sounds good because it means okay, well, I only have 1 millivolt. That means that it's not a big burden voltage. On the other hand, this small burden voltage is very hard to measure. You have to have a very, as you're getting from 1 milliamp down to a microamp, which is 1/1000th of a milliamp, these millivolts, this will become 0.001 millivolts. And now, that's actually getting really hard to measure. And a lot of multimeters, they kind of cheap out. They don't want to have a really precise analog digital converter inside. They usually kind of don't want to go below 1 millivolt. And so what ends up happening is they end up increasing the burden voltage. They'll end up saying okay, well, for us to measure small currents, we'll use a really, really big resistor. So 1 kilo ohm resistor for 1 milliamp, and then you're back up to 1 volt. So the trade-off is, how do you have a range? You want to measure a big range of current from a milliamp up to an amp, or half an amp. But you also want to balance out how big that resistor is going to be, because the bigger the resistor, the less precise your analog digital converter has to be, but then your bigger your burden voltage is. So this is kind of the problem that you have, because when you're measuring very, very, very small currents, the burden voltage can actually make a big difference. And so that's where this guy comes in. So instead of using your multimeter, which might have a really big resistor and a big burden voltage, what this guy has inside of here is a very, very small resistor and a very, very precise op-amp, probably in a differential op-amp configuration. And so it can measure extremely low voltages, and it goes down to 1 milli. You can see down here it says what the burden voltage is that it uses to measure. So it can use up to a 1 kilo ohm resistor, and that will they'll create a very low, for nanoamp measurements, they'll create a very low burden voltage, like a milliamp or less. This is designed for under 20 millivolts of burden voltage. And so that's very useful, because if you're measuring really, really low currents, chances are you also have really, really low voltages because you're doing low power electronics. So when you have a product that's running on a coin cell battery, the coin cell battery might be 1.5 volts or 2.5 volts or something. And if your burden voltage is really high, it'll actually affect your current draw. It'll make it really hard to measure stuff. So that's where this guy comes in. So it's a fully assembled project and it has a battery inside, and it has a really high quality amplification circuit inside of it that runs off a battery, so it's really quiet as well, so there's not a lot of noise going on. And then you can connect your multimeter and just measure the voltage across here from the current coming into here. So that's kind of an introduction of what happens. In general, multimeters have ranges, and if you set the right range, the burn voltage won't be a big deal. It won't affect your project strongly, but it is something to keep in mind, especially as you're going into really high currents, because your burn voltage will get really big unless you have a very, very small resistor, and as you go to very low currents as well, because you're going to have more sensitivity to that burn voltage.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do a demo and do a video back when we get these back in stock. I have to email Dave tonight.
Yeah, and that's why the microcurrent's great.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Leonardo's without headers, so they are a slightly lower price.
Yeah.
And in fact, tonight will probably be the only time we ever do this. These are 10% off tonight.
Experiment with these.
Yeah.
Do something
Code
interesting.
Father's Day. Well,
and skinny.
Yeah. Anyways, so
just
for tonight for this. Tonight only if you're watching the recorded version. Anyways, this is Leonardo.
Just show your head because it's too skinny.
Yeah.
It's basically a super skinny Leonardo. It's just like the Leonardo, but there's no programming header, and there's no female headers here, and there's no DC power jack. So it's like super thin.
Yeah.
Super, super skinny. Really good for projects where you have weight problems or you want it to be really small. You can still attach a header, but it has to solder through. You'd have to solder the header in. But for some projects, it might be worth it because you just want it to be so skinny. And what's nice is because it's all surface mount, it's like super thin. It's like the circuit board is like the thickest part. You could use it as throwing stars and stuff. Okay.
And it's a beautiful board, as usual, from Arduino. They did a great job.
Beautiful. Lovely silk screening on the back.
Here is the back. Here's the front. Okay, next up. These little RFID things.
Yeah, I got some more RFID tags. I was experimenting. We're expanding our RFID tag. It's just this little tag. The photo is actually... I can do it in the overhead.
You said you wanted to go to the overhead. We're going to the overhead.
It's pretty small, but inside here you can kind of sort of barely see it. There's a coil and an S50 chip, which is the MyFair 1K chip. So these are read-writable. They have an EEPROM that you can read and write using our NFC RFID board. Not all RFID readers can write and read to the memory contents. It also has a 4-byte permanent ID in it. And it's kind of just a tag. I thought it would be useful for some projects maybe where you wanted a really small tag.
Yeah. Here's another photo here. Okay. And then this is another one we had, and it sold out really fast, but we got more coming on the way.
Know.
This is the Yo-Yo Mint.
We don't have a lot of time to talk about it in detail, but I will show this off. So this is a version of the Yo-Yo board, which is an Android. It actually came before the ADK. It's an Android interface board. And what I really liked about this is, first off, it uses our awesome tins, which is great. But also it has a couple things in it that make it, I think, a really good alternative to the ADK. So first up, this has both USB client. Well, actually, is it USB client? I don't think it's client. I think it actually has USB for reprogramming a battery. There's actually a battery underneath here, and there's an on-off switch, so you can turn it on or off so that it can recharge the battery inside. And then there's boost converter in here to give you 5 volts out. And there's a USB-A connection. This is a PIC microcontroller here. And there's all these pins broken out, so you can actually just connect wires directly to them if you want to make a project with sensors. And there's also, tough to rip out, there's a USB-A connector with a slot, and it comes with a Bluetooth module. Really low-cost Bluetooth module, but it does work with some phones. Not all phones, but about half of phones can connect using the Bluetooth interface. And so instead of having a project where you have to connect this A connector through a micro USB connector to your phone, you can use the Bluetooth connection, and that allow this to be, in a separate bag or box or a couple feet away. And it also doesn't have to charge the phone, so your battery life should actually be better because it's not going to try to charge the phone up using this battery.
Okay, real quick, can the Yo-Yo libraries run on the ADK, like if you want to use the ADK with an older Droid?
I don't believe so. The ADK and the Yo-Yo, I think, are two completely separate projects. I haven't done more than just the basic, hello world with this because I haven't had a lot of time. But they both are supported in different ways. The ADK is more official, but there's a lot of people using the Yo-Yo, and Itai did a really good job, and so we really like this version. It comes in a tin and it comes with a cable.
Yeah.
It also, you can also not use the Bluetooth, like the phone that we have to test with, we need to use USB.
I'll answer one question. There's a hole in top because you can put an optional
breathalyzer thing,
alcohol sensor, because this is part of another product that for people who want to measure how much alcohol. But because we're doing stuff for educators and for kids, that's not really appropriate. So we got it without it. So it's a little cheaper, and you don't have to worry about it.
But if you had like a photo cell or something,
yeah,
or if you have some sort of environmental sensor, like a barometric pressure sensor, you can use this as like a little vent, or you can just tape it out.
The big brother and big sister version of this is like, how drunk are you, and you breathe it in and your phone tells you.
Yeah.
We can't, like...
We decided not to carry that. We decided to carry the hacker version.
We do educator stuff, and so parents and teachers have a problem with that. Yeah. Anyways, next up. We're running out of time.
I know.
All right, we've got
these
beautiful new LED strands.
These are so easy to demo because they're
wow.
really bright.
Okay. So we have some LEDs. Let me go to the overhead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculously bright.
Look, it's Tron.
So these are like the brightest.
That's the back of Tron.
It's the brightest LED strip I could get, and it's cool bright LEDs.
Hold it up.
Yeah, it's just stupid bright. It's actually kind of painful.
Yeah, I can't really see it.
So these are 60 really, really bright. I don't know exactly what the millicandela is, but I'm going to guess it's about 4 to 6,000 millicandela per LED, 120 degree, and it's 60 LEDs per meter, so it's really solid color. And we have some projects we're going to do with these, but we have the warm white LEDs, and so we also wanted these cool whites. And because the cool whites don't have the yellow phosphor on top of them, they are really, really bright. So good for all sorts of stuff, and we have it by the meter.
I have a cataract. So, next up.
Okay.
That's it. We did it.
Okay.
We got for the new products. Phew.
Hold on, let me turn it off.
And that was the new product section.
My eyes are like...
Yeah.
I see spots. I see 60 spots per meter.
I see dead pixels. Next up, we have, we're going to go fast. We got a little top secret.
Oh.
We got it. It's not out yet. Don't ask. We got it. People love this. People love this part of the show. Some people only tune in for this and the cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll show off the two things that are not quite out yet.
A couple quick questions that someone had. How do you pick this show and tells? All you have to do is go to L'Amour's page and post a comment, and you just show up. We don't pick. They find us. Next up, what is the current draw for the entire reel? You know what that is?
Check the product page. It depends a little bit on how you drive it, but you can calculate it.
Okay. So this is, it's not out. I want to put this graphic up again. Not out yet. Don't ask. Top secret.
Top secret.
So I will show you a photo of this. I'm going to show you a photo of this. This is the latest in our Pi accessories that we're building. The Raspberry Pi accessories. I will go to the overhead.
Yeah, this is the Pi plate that we designed. So this is Rev 2. So now that we actually have a Raspberry Pi, I got to test the Pi version 1, and then I was like, yeah, you know what, I want to change this thing, so I made a version 2.
Yeah.
The version 2 has labels for all of the pins. You can kind of barely see it, and also when I first designed the plate, the GPIO pins were not quite finished. They weren't sure exactly what they were. We got breakout here, and then the final version actually has a sort of a grid, sort of like a breadboard here, instead of just spots. And it has a SOIC breakout over here, and then there's, I like these 3.5 millimeter terminal blocks, so you can connect to all the GPIO pins, and then it plugs into, hey, you know my Pi. Yeah, it plugs into a Raspberry Pi, and we designed this version so that you could plug it into the Pi.
At first we weren't sure, but yes, you can actually plug the Pi plate, that's what we're calling it, into the Pi enclosure that Phil Burgess, Paint Your Dragon, designed. By the way, little shout out. Hey, K-Town was in the chat.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Hey, K-Town.
I didn't know if he was.
And John Engineers. We have friends. We have friends.
Okay. I don't want to have any pressure. Yeah. Anyways, so you can still get to the terminal blocks here and plug in wires and stuff, but it still protects the Pi. So I think we did a pretty good job here. And then you can prototype here. And this is our basic prototyping plate.
But wait, there's more. And people already knew about this stuff. There's actually more.
This is just version 2. And so this is actually going to manufacture now.
Yeah. And we'll have these in the store in a couple of weeks, we promise. We're going as fast as we can. We're getting through all the enclosures for the Pi as fast as we can. Okay. We have lasers running almost 24 hours. And so this is a new product.
So this is a K-Town design.
Yeah, this is K-Town again.
So K-Town and I were thinking, okay, so you've got the Raspberry Pi, and then you want to have your GPIO cable. We actually have a slot, but I don't want to take it apart.
So GPIO cable.
You've got the standard low-cost IDC cable, which is really nice. But then IDC cables have 2x13 pins, and you're like, okay, well, like this kind of sucks. Like, how do I connect stuff to it? Like this, like you don't have to split off the cable or anything. So we decided to come up with this really cute idea. This is like a breadboard adapter, And so it's an IDC cable connector, and then it breaks out all the pins on both sides, so you can plug it into a breadboard. And we did a really nice job. We put mounting holes, and it's purple.
Breadboard breakout for Raspberry Pi. I will try to come up with a fun name for this, because Pi Plate was great.
Yeah, that was a good one. This one I don't know. And you can't really see it because it's small, but every pin is labeled what the GPIO pin is. And I went through and I tested every single one of the pins. I wrote code to test like all the pins on a Raspberry Pi. So then you can plug this in to here.
Yeah.
And then you can plug it into your breadboard. And that means it's much easier for you to... and then we're going to have to find some way to clip this. I want to clip this so it's like this. So we'll have some sort of like a clip of some sort. Maybe we'll 3D print something. And then you can connect stuff on a really long breadboard, connect to the GPIO cable, so you can do LEDs and like relays and PWM out, and it makes it really, really easy. And this is sort of the simplest solution we came up with for how to connect all 26-ish pins from the Raspberry Pi, and it can be safe in the box. And then you can like unplug this and connect it, or unplug the cable if you want to keep your project. And then like this can be your project. You work on the project and then plug in the Pi last. So that's it's not out yet. Just don't ask.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's hard to see. I don't know why. Usually it's not so hard to see stuff.
Yeah, so that's
it's
the
small.
yeah, so that's the top secret thing. So I don't get to that. Okay. So whew. All right, we got through this. So we'll do some general questions for a few minutes, and then we're gonna do a trivia question.
Okay.
There's this cat that's hanging
There's a cat.
All right,
can you hand me the tea while you wait
sure.
for questions?
General engineering questions.
Engineering questions.
Here.
Not about the stuff I just showed, but anything else engineering.
Oh, someone wanted to know if we're looking for more lasers for case cutting. No, we're lined up pretty well for lasers, but send an email anyways, because we're always looking to just chat with new people about lasers anyways. We have some partners that we're working with, and we also have our laser running all the time. And as we get into our new space one day, we'll probably have a fleet of lasers. I don't know what do you call it, like a gaggle of lasers? Okay. All right, I gotta answer. You gotta do this question.
I'm ready.
All right.
Answer the question.
Trouble with RFID breakouts 1.0, 1.3, and Arduino 1.01. Would there be a problem with using pins SCK 45, MOSI 47, SS 48,
okay, wait, stop.
On the Mega 2?
This is a good thing to post on the forums.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to debug your project with like 500 pin.
Post this one on the forums.
Okay, next up. Did you hear about the HID Global is starting to support NFC? They are putting it on a webinar on the 20th.
No,
send an email. I just see that.
Need to build a CNC enclosure. Can Dragon Claws be successfully scaled?
It depends on how flexible your material is. Acrylic is pretty brittle, so if it works on acrylic, it'll work on nearly anything else. I expect that the Dragon Claws will work really well with wood, but you'll have to experiment with how big how big of a gap in between and how much of a curve you need to get
Here's the deal, folks. Phil Burgess, Paint Your Dragon, did a great thing, and we released this as an open source project, and it's on Thingiverse. So it would be awesome if people tested different materials and published the results back, and we all got together and we improved designs, because that makes you feel good about putting your stuff out there. I know for a fact there are people that are going to remove the attribution, remove everything, and they're going to sell it on eBay, and it's not going to be so good. And I know that's going to happen. We're going to get over it. It's going to be cool. But all of the people who watch here are not like that. So that'd be really cool. Please experiment. I think wood would work out great too.
Okay, next up.
Okay.
Someone said an emission of lasers. That's a good way to group that. Okay. Next up, are the LED strips addressable I2C?
I have never seen I2C addressable LED strips. The digital LED strips that we have in the store are SPI. You probably want SPI anyways because it's a hell of a lot faster.
Okay. Next up, what's the best way to start a hackerspace? Go to hackerspaces.org, and they actually have a whole big list of resources. And you know what? You can actually email Mitch Altman. He'll actually reply back and give you a bunch of good advice.
Like getting a dishwasher.
And he may even show up in your town and teach soldering.
Whee!
Yeah.
Okay. Next up.
Mitch on the roll.
In the design of a board, how can you prevent terminal blocks from ripping off after a lot of intense and patient use? Any tips?
Don't be impatient. I mean, I don't know what to say. Just be careful when you do it. Make sure you have good plated through holes.
Yeah. It's tough. Sometimes I have a problem when I have to take apart something like reverse engineering or I'm trying to repair something. Sometimes, especially Apple stuff, you have to be so careful and so precise. and I just want to bend it. And, like it's the same thing.
You have to.
You just
really
have to get in the
careful.
mindset.
You have to take apart a lot of stuff to understand how delicate you have to be taking apart stuff.
Okay. How can we help Hackerspace passports? By help, I don't know what you mean by help. We sell them.
Set up a Hackerspace and make stamps. We have a tutorial on how to make stamps.
I don't know what that means. Difference. Okay. Next up, will having the AT-Tiny85 live fuse slightly off cause the entire TV Be Gone unit to get really hot? Having a hard time finding correct fuse setting.
Fuse settings are in the make file. Use only the fuse settings in the make file. Don't use anything else.
Okay. What's the difference between our Yo-Yo Mint and SparkFun's Yo-Yo?
Well, the Yo-Yo, it's a different project.
Yeah.
So this one is a little more expensive. It comes in a tin. It has a battery, a rechargeable battery behind it. You can't see it because it's like underneath the board. I think it has an on-off switch, which the other one doesn't have, and it comes with a Bluetooth device. Otherwise, it's very similar. Both are part of Itai's, who's started the Yo-Yo project. So the Yo-Yo Mint and the Yo-Yo are both Itai's projects, but I think he's just experimenting with different ways of using the Yo-Yo. I think people probably were like, hey, we want a Yo-Yo that like has an on-off switch and like comes with a battery, and he's like, okay, and so he worked on this one.
Next up, I have the 2.8 TFT touchscreen Shield. Is there a 4-wire restrictive touchscreen that works with a non-bony finger press?
Sometimes you need to use a stylus. Resistive touchscreens are usually used with styluses, or stylized, so you might not be able to use your fingers. Some people can, some people can't.
Next up, are you going to make an Arduino Shield with the new GPS antenna? For the new GPS antenna.
The new GPS, I don't know what a new GPS antenna is.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you going to make a Arduino Shield for the new GPS antenna? I don't know. What's the best personal laser cutter for personal use? Look at the Epilogue Zing. Pretty low cost.
Yeah, the Zing is kind of nice.
Let's see.
I wonder if Laser Store ever happened. Then they finished it, didn't they?
Let's see.
Okay.
I think we got through it.
Okay.
So it's 10:59. Wow. Phew.
It's time for a trivia question and a cat.
It's time for a trivia question, and then it's time for a cat. Okay, trivia question time. Do you want to do the rules?
Yeah, sure. If you've won something in this fantastic trivia contest on our Adafruit show, please do not enter this trivia contest. Just go and do something else, or sit on your hands, or type into a notepad window or something. Don't answer this question. We want everyone to win once.
Yeah. Tonight's prize is going to be a Leonardo without headers.
Yeah. Hack it up.
So that's a nice little prize. You know, we're getting close to this $20 Arduino, folks. We're getting pretty close. So, it's pretty. If you get discounts, about $20.
If the euro,
they said it could never happen. The euro's.
If the euro collapses, then yes, we'll definitely be able to get
Greece is voting in. They might not be in the euro anymore. It's going up next, and then Spain and Italy. Everyone's having problems.
Okay.
We have problems. 2 blocks from here, the financial district probably caused most of it. Anyway, sorry. The trivia question that I have to ask. Okay. The first person to post the full URL of Mitch Altman's Kickstarter gets this Leonardo without headers. What is Mitch Altman's?
Mitch Altman's full
URL on the Kickstarter. The full URL. Yeah, I need to see what it is. I'll tell you. Yeah. And everyone has to click it and maybe consider. Oh, here it is.
All right.
Yeah, you got it. It is PABUT. Habit.
Good Googling.
Email support@adafruit.com and you get a Arduino Leonardo without headers. Congratulations. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to go get the cat. Do you want to show anything? Oh, why don't you show the it's not out yet thing just for a moment because people really like that stuff.
Okay.
And then
all right,
I'll be back
so
with
let me show the Shield Proto Plate PCB. Yeah, if you can zoom in on it. So yeah, we've got terminal blocks all around here. These are the terminal blocks. I like these terminal blocks because they're big, but they're not too big. We've got extra tall stacky headers so that it plugs in and it sits on top of the Raspberry Pi. So yeah, I got all the pins broken out, and I tested all these pins, so they are correct. Some of them aren't connected because they're for future use. And then there's a big prototyping area, which is really nice. And then there's 4 pins that are just connected to these terminal blocks. Just for like, oh, I want to connect something to terminal blocks like a sensor, and it's not going to connect directly to this board. Oh, hey, there's a cat.
Yeah, we're back. Okay.
Hello.
All right. Yeah, so here's the moment everyone's been waiting for. Here is, whoa. Here's MOSFET. Whoa, he's like, this is way too bright for me, I'm a cat. It's really messing up the camera.
That's cool.
Meow.
Glow cat.
Meow, meow. Okay. Meow, meow,
I'm not like
meow.
choking him or anything.
No,
Just
that's fine.
glow cat is glowy.
Meow, meow. It's actually the only good way to see MOSFET because he's so dark.
Wow, this is so bright. This is just like one little strip.
Yeah. All right, MOSFET, I'm so sorry you can't see anymore, but
Brown?
yeah, we'll get you a little seeing eye dog. Okay.
He's
All
fine.
right.
Aren't you fine? Yeah, he's purring.
Yeah, so thanks for everyone showing up. We're running a couple minutes late, but we'll close out the show. Thanks, George, for doing the recording as always. Thanks to all the show and tell participants. Thanks, John Jr., for showing up. Thanks, K-Town, feel better. I know you're under the weather. Phil Burgess, thank you for all your hard work. Paint Your Dragon. Everyone's loving these cases. We can't keep up making them. That's really good. We'll see everybody. Did I thank everybody who were in the show and tell? I think I did.
Yeah, thanks
Anyways,
everybody in the show and tell.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch. Go
Yeah.
support Mitch's Kickstarter.
Yeah. And thanks, everyone. Have
Thanks,
a great
MOSFET.
Father's Day. Don't forget, the code is Father's Day. Your homework, if you want to help us out, is the Lego stuff. We would love to get more votes so we can make that happen. And
We're almost a fifth of the way there.
here is... See everybody next week. Here is your moment of Zener.